Humans of the cardboard, welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today, huge news. I believe this is coming out of the Jump Festa live stream for the OCG, but ginormous stuff here. 2 new Cyber Dragon cards, 2 new Live Twin cards, and 2 new Eldlich cards. Crazy. I don't know if there's going to be more stuff revealed or not. If there's more stuff, I'll make another video later, but for now we're covering these because these are the tactical tri-deck archetypes that they chose to go with last year for the OCG. When those came out, I said, like, weird. I think they're probably going to make more support based on them picking these 3 random archetypes, and here we go. So let's jump into it. I don't want to waste too much time beforehand, but let's start with Eldlich here. We start with a brand new, actually, extra deck monster, which is kind of surprising. It's a new fusion. This is, I mean, I'm not even going to try with this first name, but whatever of the Golden Land is a level 10 Dark Zombie fusion, 1800 attack, 2500 defense. It does take specifically Eldlich the Golden Lord plus any other zombies. So that's pretty easy to make with the fusion stuff the deck already has access to. Must either be fusion summoned or special summoned from your extra deck by attributing 1 light zombie monster while you have Eldlich the Golden Lord on your field or in your graveyard. Wow. And only once per turn. Wow, that's actually so crazy. That's so easy to do. Okay, hopefully it's good. Alright, second effect. Or sorry, only effect, I guess. The other one's not really a full effect. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, field specifically, you can special summon 1 Eldlich monster from your deck, extra deck, or graveyard. Okay. I mean, for a card that seems like pretty free, I'm very curious how many light... I guess the biggest question is going to be how many light zombies exist. There's a good amount of earth zombies. There's a good amount of dark zombies. I don't know how many light zombies there are aside from, like, the Eldlich monster specifically, but this means you can tribute the Eldlich Trap monsters, I believe. I believe this means you can tribute Eldlich himself, and that makes this card pretty live. This is a nice, flexible card. I would imagine we're not really trying to fuse into this card too often, but this does seem like a staple extra deck card for Eldlich going forward. Pretty good card. Cool. Alright, next up we have another new trap. Of course, this is a whole trap monster archetype. This is Eldlich of the Exalted Golden Land. It's a continuous trap. It's very cool. So this is probably a new trap monster to add to their tools. You can only use the first effect of this card's name once per turn. The first effect reads, pay 800 life points, then activate one of these effects. So you can't activate both, but you can pick one, though. The first one reads, special summon this card as a normal monster. This is a zombie, level 10. Level 10 is crazy. Why is it level 10? This allows you to just make, like, crazy rank 10 plays in the deck, okay? 1528, I believe same stats as the guy above. Oh, no, 1825, sorry, backwards. Kind of flipping the 100 stats. It is also still a trap. Then, if you control Eldlich the Golden Lord, you can return 1 monster on the field to the hand. So this card is kind of like the other Eldlichers. Not the Eldlichers, I guess it's more... I'm trying to think, because, like, Eldlich gets kind of jumbled because they have the Eldlichers and the Golden Land cards. I thought the Eldlichers were the ones that actually got you access to the Golden Lands. So it's cool that, like, you have interruption in the form of an actual golden... Oh, this is a Golden Land and an Eldlich. I didn't even realize that at first. That's so cool. When Konami does that and they make an archetype that's kind of sectioned off into 2 types, like 2 factions, right? You have the Eldlichers, you have the Golden Lands, and they make a new card that's both, and actually, like, still gets you interruption no matter which type of card you're kind of forced into. I think that's really cool, because that could be an awkward spot for the deck that made it, like, a little bit too slow for modern day, like, Yu-Gi-Oh! And the other effect, if you didn't want to do the special summon and bounce, you could. Also, by the way, the bounce doesn't target, so that's sweet. Anyway, the second effect says set 1 of your banished Golden Land or Eldlich or Speller traps. I like that as well. That's really nice. The deck really didn't have much recursion to it. It had like not that it didn't have recursion, it didn't have grindability, but once an Eldlich like Speller trap was banished, it was like gone. it was like gone for the entire duel normally. So this card does give us access to potentially grind even in like a super long grind. Not that I think it will come up as much as the first effect, but it's a nice little addition there. So there you go. There's your 2 Eldlich cards. Really nice. I don't know if it's enough to make Eldlich fully playable. I do think the trap has more application overall, just because it's like put a light zombie on the field and this card is live. So I think that's the one's going to be way more easily accessible than this one, and also a little bit quicker. But yeah, cool cards for them. Cool. Hopefully Eldlich can actually be something. Not to mention, when Eldlich came out, we didn't have Silo Hat Rabbit. We do now. So Silo Hat Rabbit's going to allow us to get access to this new trap card and the other trap monsters the deck already has access to. So really cool. Next up, live twin support. I didn't even look at the artwork before, but hold on. Let's dive into that real quick. I can't even tell what's going on here. You have this weird shadow version of like Eldlich, it looks like, and then our other trap Eldlich. You know, he's pulling up some energy. Nothing crazy. All right, live twin support. This is gonna be crazy. Live twins are a huge fan favorite. I'm kind of surprised they've taken this long to give support to live twins, because they've kind of deserved it just for how much they're loved by the fans. But let's see it. This is live twin Lila Sweet. It's a dark spellcaster effect monster, level 2, 500/0 for the stats. You can only use both of its effects once per turn. The first effect reads: when your opponent activates a card or effect in response to the activation of your live twin card or effect. That's a mouthful. Quick effect. You can discard this card to negate that opponent's effect. Whoa! That is not what I was expecting. Wow, that's so crazy. Any live twin card you activate. Now, it's not evil twin or live twin, so your opponent can still interrupt the evil twin portion of the deck, but if they try to interrupt a live twin with a hand trap, this card is just a called by the grave for that. That's crazy. Okay, that's really cool. Okay. Second effect, if this card is in your graveyard and you control a Kissy Kill. So this is a Lila, but if you control a Kissy Kill, you can special summon this card from the graveyard. But you cannot special summon from the extra deck while you control this monster summon this way, except for fiend monsters. That restriction is bullshit. That restriction is baloney. Literally ignore that, because that does not stop the deck from doing anything, in my opinion, especially since there's a link 1 below this card. So we'll get to that in a sec. But that's really good, because if the leaks are correct that we read a couple of weeks, almost months ago at this point, the link is going to make this card totally validated, because this card does kind of read like sort of a brick. It can protect you from certain combos if you can play outside of this card, but you'll see that this is like a necessary brick in a second. So the other card here is a new link 1. Crazy artwork, really going ham on the not necessarily fan service, but really pushing that. Okay. This is Evil Twin Kissy Kill Deal. This is a light fiend link monster. It's a link 1. 100 attack is the stat on this card. So this card is not a card you're leaving on the field, but it does take specifically a Kissy Kill monster, which I think is very intriguing, because this does, I don't want to say fully confirm, but this almost confirms that down the line we're going to get a Lila link 1 and a Kissy Kill additional main deck monster to apply to it, right? Because this deck has literally every piece of this deck corresponds to another piece in this deck. So you know what I mean? Like there's one of each of the link 2s. They combine for the link 4. There are 2 versions of the main deck monsters for each. At some point we're going to get another link 1 for Lila and another main deck monster for Kissy Kill. I can almost guarantee it. Anyway, as for what this card actually does, you can only link summon, it does actually take a Kissy Kill monster as material, so that's super important, that you can't use Lila. That does specifically make Kissy Kill the much better normal summon starter for the deck, for sure, because you'll see. You can only link summon this card once per turn, and you can only use the effect of this card's effect once per turn. First effect, you can send 1 Lila monster from your deck or extra deck to the graveyard to apply this effect for the rest of the turn. Each time your opponent activates a card in response to the activation of either a Kissy Kill or a Lila monster's effect, draw 1 card. Wow. That's interesting. Your opponent cannot let this card resolve. They just can't do it. If they have something to negate this, they have to. This card sends as cost. That's insane. Is this deck just good again? I'm genuinely wondering off of this Link 1 plus the new monster, because you have lines now that like one card combo beats a hand trap. Beats a hand trap. Now 2 hand traps gets a little bit more interesting, and like depending on what hand traps they are, you can have a conversation about it, but like 1 card combos are beating 1 hand trap now because of this card. Crazy. Okay, I mean, I think this deck might be popping back up as a legit, at least rogue, maybe even better than that. We'll have to wait and see on that. Still works really well with Fiend stuff, so Fiendsmith, the Unchained package, all that stuff is totally potentially something you look at here, but crazy. All right, and for the final piece here, I saved this for last on purpose. Hold on, let's make sure there wasn't anything else crazy revealed. Okay, cool. Just the main 3, the Tactical Master stuff. 2 new Cyber Dragon cards. I love Cyber Dragon. This is one of my 5 favorite archetypes in Yu-Gi-Oh! Let's see if these cards really help Cyber Dragon go to the next level. First off, we have this new guy. I love his design. Look at his design. He's beautiful, and he's level 5. He's level 5, which is so huge. It's actually so huge. Okay. Cyber Jormungandr. Wait, it doesn't have dragon in the name? That's crazy. Oh, that could be huge. Hold on, we'll see. Okay. It is a light machine. 1,000 attack, 2,100 defense. It cannot be normal summoned or set. It must be special summoned by a card effect, and you can only use its first and second effects once per turn. If your opponent controls a monster, you can special summon this card from your hand, then take 1 Cyber Dragon from your deck and either special summon it or equip it to this card. Also, you cannot special summon for the rest of this turn except machine monsters. Okay. Second effect, you can return 1 Cyber Dragon you control to the hand to add 1 Polymerization from your deck or graveyard to your hand. Ooh, okay. 2 super interesting effects. Very, very curious here. So the first effect is good, right? Like, it does tailor the card to being obviously a going second card, right? Your opponent has to have something on the field. There are certain dumb things you can do to, like, give your opponent a body, but I don't think that's going to apply to this card going first. This might just push this deck to being a going second deck, which is okay. But it's really good, right? It does apply a lot of pressure on its own. Even just straight up, just saying, okay, my opponent controls a monster. I'm summoning this card. And then I'm getting a Cyber Dragon from deck, giving me 2 level 5 machines, one of which has Cyber Dragon in the name, which means I can immediately threaten to contact fuse my opponent, or I just have 2 monsters on field to immediately threaten into like a Cyber Dragon Infinity line. I think either way is really good. I could try and nitpick and say I wish this didn't say my opponent has to control a monster, and that way you could use it going first, but I'm not going to gripe on it too hard. I still think this is a good card overall, especially for an archetype that historically is more well-known for going second. So I'll take it. And second effect, doing this is actually pretty good as well, because you could bounce... this card doesn't have Cyber Dragon in the name, but like you could bounce the original Cyber Dragon that you summoned from deck right back to your hand to add a poly. Or, I'm kind of bummed that this adds poly specifically. This... I wonder, I can't imagine this is like a huge translation error, but like, come on. We've got like Cyber Dark cards that search Power Bond. We've got Cyber Dragon Core that searches, the Cyber Load Fusion. Like, can we, like, you know what I mean? Like, what? I'm not going to play 3 different fusions in my deck. So I just kind of wish they would lean into one and just go full board into one. I kind of hate that this searches poly. There's a world where we just don't even play poly, and we just ignore this effect, and we just use this as a tool that gets us 2 level 5s on field, including Cyber Dragon name. So, we'll see, but still a good card. That's the card we had leaked. This other card could be a game changer as well, though. We'll see. So, this is Cyber Dark Worm. This is his artwork here. Very Dragon-esque, actually. Not what I was expecting there, but still, hopefully could be really good. It's a Dark Machine effect monster, level 5, 821 for the stats. You can only use the second effect once per turn. This card's name becomes Cyber Dragon on the field in the graveyard. Very surprised that this guy doesn't have Cyber Dragon on the field or in the graveyard as a bonus effect, but whatever. If this card is in your hand or graveyard, and you have another machine cyber monster on your field or graveyard, you can send one Cyber Dragon monster from your hand or deck to the graveyard to special summon this card. Then you can add a Cyber Speller Trap from your graveyard to your hand. Whoa! Wow, really? The Foolish Burialing as cost is crazy. This card lets you Foolish Burial any Cyber Dragon monster. So you can Foolish Burial Cyber Dragon hers and get an add back from grave, or just add a regular Cyber Dragon from deck. And then still add a Cyber Speller Trap from grave back to hand. So that could be an emergency you started your plays with, or in the grind this card becomes very good. This card doesn't even banish itself when it leaves the field. So being able to use this every single turn basically is this is a really crazy grind card. It's a solid extender because I was already on the fence when I was looking at potentially building this deck. I was already looking at this deck and saying, do we play 3 Cyberdark Realm, the spell card that searches a Cyberdark monster, or do we just play 1 as part of like a combo line? And this card might fully make that card almost by itself like a auto 3-of, because it's just actually a really powerful extender now in the deck. Very, very cool. Okay. Cool. All in all, really cool support. Let's do one more check here at the end here just to make sure there wasn't anything else revealed. Yes, it does look like our main reveals here are just our tactical tri-deck stuff. Very hype stuff regardless. I think Live Twins are like maybe the biggest winner here just in terms of which archetype got like, oh my god, I think they're like might just be straight up good again. This is the legit support. This is the support almost on the same tier as like the quarter century Trinity box support that we got. It's almost on that level. The Cyber Dragon stuff is very intriguing. I'm obviously going to mess with them. These 2 cards mixed with Clockwork Knight really makes Cyber Dragon super interesting going forward. So I cannot wait to mess with them. I hope they're good. I hope with everything in me that they're really good and legitimately playable, but we'll have to see. A lot going on here. It's kind of hard to hone in on one specific thing, but I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts down below. If you have a specific thought about any of these 3 types of support or all 3, let me know in the comment section down below. And of course, as always, guys, subscribe to the channel if you want me to keep you up to date on all things Yu-Gi-Oh! News going forward. We should have a ton of Alliance Insight reveals going forward. This only gets us to like 27 out of 80 cards for the set. So we still have like over 50 cards in like 33 days. You know what I mean? So we've got a lot of stuff coming here very, very shortly, and I cannot wait to bring you that as it comes. So let me know your thoughts down below. Subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.